Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AR Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto was neglected by his family and had the powers of Moro. So yeah, guys, it is gonna be really OP of a series, as I have already uploaded one part of this series on my channel. If you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out. You guys will definitely like it. And yeah, guys, I would like to tell you guys about my new manhwa recap channel, as I have uploaded some videos here and hope to reach 1000 subscribers. So if you guys are interested in manhwa recap, then the link is in the description below. So please follow me on this channel as well. So yeah, guys, before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to the channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It would be really helpful to me, as I want to reach 20k subscribers on this channel. So with your help, I would be able to reach it. So please guys subscribe. And yeah, guys, the link of my Instagram is also in the description below. So please follow me on Instagram. So without wasting any more of your time, let us start the video. Last time we left off as we saw that how Naruto was, you can say, imprisoned at the time of his birth, as a great premonition was given to all the elders of the summoning clans as they decided to come to Konoha to get Naruto, as Minato, who was, you can say, pretty surprised to hear all of this, but decided to trust the great Elder Sage. After all, he was one of his summoners, so he has to obey now. After all, he was the Hokage, and if Naruto is truly the child of destruction, then sacrifices has to be made for the good of Konoha, for the good of the shinobi world. So he decided to, you can say, give Naruto to the great Elder Sage, but Naruto's power was simply too much. If he were to be simply killed, his power would explode out, destroying everything. So the summoning clan decided to imprison Naruto with the most powerful seal known to them. With their sage art, they decided to use natural energy to imprison Naruto, but it was actually their biggest mistake, as we saw that Naruto was able to control the natural energy, was able to feed it off, as well as able to connect to the world as whole, knowing everything. Even though he was imprisoned, he was, you can say, he knew everything about the shinobi world and whatever was going on here, as Naruto was finally able to free himself, coming to Konoha to pay his beloved family a visit, as at the time Konoha was in the midst of an invasion by Orochimaru, as Minato, who was fighting the reanimated first and second Hokage, was pretty tired at this point, but he saw that how the barrier shattered as Naruto was able to arrive. Minato was able to recognize him, as well as Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Kushina, who had just arrived there, as Naruto simply laughed it off as Minato told him to surrender. But Naruto truly didn't care. After all, it was his first time coming outside and he wanted to test his strength. But these people were simply too weak. So he decided to test his strength on that disgusting creature known as Orochimaru. And he was able to feed off his energy and was able to get all of his knowledge and memories. That was rather interesting experience, as he was able to literally destroy Orochimaru's soul and was able to take the chakra of the one half of the Kyuubi from Menma, who was pretty shocked to see that it was so-called brother of his. Afterward, Naruto decided to leave the planet. After all, there was many things he wanted to know, especially one thing he was sensing from a, you can say, distant planet. So he decided to give it a visit. That planet was none other than where Momoshiki and Kinshiki were present, and they were there to get the chakra fruit. But Naruto arrived, taking the chakra fruit, eating it away, and he realized that the Otsutsuki were literally made up of chakra, as Naruto was able to absorb them like it was nothing. While on the other hand, on the other side of the universe, very consciousness of chakra was able to recognize Naruto, calling it that his powers did not belong in this reality, in this universe, as he was intrigued and surprised to see this kind of creature. While on the other hand, Naruto knew many things now and he wanted to visit more planets to see if he can do more things, as his powers were increasing, his magical powers and abilities were reaching new heights. So yeah, guys, that was the last part of the series. If you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out. You guys will definitely like it. So yeah, guys, so today, I'm gonna start my story with Minato, as Minato was looking towards Menma and Mito, as Menma was asking him questions that what happened to Kyuubi, why can't I sense the Kyuubi's chakra, As Minato sighed, he truly do not know what kind of abilities Naruto truly possess. All the things he knows is from the great Elder Toad sage. Hell, he didn't even know why Naruto was even able to speak their language. After all, from the information he's gotten, Naruto was never taught anything. He literally knew nothing. From the very young age, he was imprisoned there. So how is this even possible for him to know so many things? And how could he use this kind of power? Even if he had such kind of power, it needs training and experience to use these kinds of power. He has many questions in his mind, but there was little he could do or he could ask, but he simply shook his head. Do not worry, Manma. I have already examined the seal. QB himself is not extracted from you, only his power is lost temporarily. Sure enough, after some time, you would be able to feel more of QB's power, as me and Jiraiya Sensei have already examined it, as the QB has already gained one tail worth of QB's power. So do not worry about it. As Menma was still angry about the situation, as Mito said, what about this guy Naruto? Mom always talking about. Who is he? Dad? As Minato sighed but decided to explain the situation, as both Menma and Mito were surprised to hear that it was their so-called older brother. As Minato completed his explanation, as Jiraiya speak up, do not be fooled by blood relations, Menma. Mito, Naruto is not a normal child. You guys have already seen it. He's a monster and he's a child of destruction. He will bring end to the shinobi world if he's allowed to. And you guys are the child of savior. You guys have to train yourself hard and stop him. You guys have already seen his power even without any training. He was able to kill Orochimaru, who is a cage level shinobi. Not only that, he was able to destroy the reanimated first and second Hokage, so he's really powerful. He's able to take away the power of even the QB, so you have to be more careful. As Mito frowned, but what can we do even if he were to attack us if you guys are not strong enough? As Jiraiya smirked, as I have already told you, both you and Menma are special, Mito, so don't worry. The Dragon and Phoenix clan has, you can say, finally decided to intervene in this situation, and you guys have gotten their attention. Menma, you'll be going with the Dragon clan, and Mito, you'll be joining the Phoenix clan. They will train you and teach you ancient techniques powerful enough for you guys to be powerful enough to take down Naruto after their training. As both Menma and Mito were excited to hear that, while on the other hand, far away, Naruto was, you can say, flying in the midst of a planet. He could feel the natural energy that was inside of this planet. As his eyes opened, greed could be seen in his eyes as he opened his mouth. And just like that, the energy, the natural energy of the planet started to suck into his mouth at a rapid speed, as the plants that were present in the planet started to die out, as well as all the things that were present there. There wasn't much of a life here, mostly plant life, but the natural energy here was truly something else. As Naruto closed his mouth, finally he was able to suck the whole planet dry within minutes, as he could feel his powers were increasing. As the whole planet started to shake violently, as Naruto closes his eyes and landed on the ground, he could see that there was more he could do. It was not just about the energy of the planet, it was even more here. As Naruto closed his eyes and put his hand on the ground, he could feel it. He could absorb the planet itself as he closes his eyes, and just like that, the shaking of the planet stopped as the planet itself started to glow violently. And just like that, Naruto opened his mouth. Now he was floating in the midst of the space, and in his hand was a fruit. As Naruto started to laugh, as he was not only able to absorb the natural energy, he was able to convert what was left behind into this fruit. As Naruto started to eat it hungrily, and just like that, his energy exploded violently. As he started to laugh, it seemed that he's gonna have a lot of fun as he looked towards the universe, as there were so many planets here, and his eyes were getting greedier and greedier, while on the other hand, in the far place of the time and space, one eye was looking towards Naruto with confusion and anger in his eyes. After all, he was very Chakra itself. He was the consciousness of Chakra, and he was confused. He was trying to examine Naruto. After all, this whole universe was under his command. Well, In a sense, of course, because most of the people here use the energy known as chakra, so he was able to control many things here, but he was confused about Naruto. His energy, it was not chakra, it was something else, and he was unable to examine it properly. And this guy was eating his power and converting it into his own energy, and he was getting angry about it. It seemed that he needs to test the strength, the limits of his power if he wants to take down this being. As the figure closed his eyes, while on the other hand, far away in the planet that was even beside the time and space of the whole universe. This was the planet of the Otsutsukis, as they were, you can say, doing their own thing, bringing chakra fruit to their elite members so that they could become stronger, while on the other hand, the king was sitting on his throne. He was King Otsutsuki. He was the king of all the Otsutsuki, and his dream is to become a god, just like the legends has told him about the one who becomes so powerful that he was able to exceed the limit of an Otsutsuki and become a so-called god. And that was his dream, but his eyes suddenly snapped open. He was feeling strange. His chakra was getting out of hand. Something was off. All the control over his chakra was gone, and it was fluctuating so hard. Suddenly, his eyes widened as his eyes, which were 10 seconds, suddenly changed into a dull gray. As the king of the Otsutsuki stood up and looked towards his hand and clenched it for some time. This will do, as he spoke up, and just like that, he flew away within rapid speeds towards the direction where Naruto was, while on the other hand, as Naruto was flying towards a planet where he could sense that there was a chakra fruit in this planet already, and he wanted to taste it once again. As he finally landed on the planet, but he was a bit confused why there were no Otsutsuki. He could sense the chakra fruit. It was almost ready, but the Otsutsukis were not here. He was a bit confused, but suddenly, you can say, a figure entered into a planet. As Naruto sensed it, the amount of chakra this person has was truly something else. Suddenly, the figure landed beside the tree at such a speed that the whole ground shook violently, making a gigantic crater there. As the whole tree was, you can say, was now falling, but the figure pointed his hand towards the tree, and just like that, the tree was absorbed into the Rinnegan in his hand. As Naruto looked towards the guy, he could feel the amount of power inside of him, and for whatever reason, his blood was boiling at it. As Naruto looked towards the figure, as the figure started to fly towards Naruto and then looked towards Naruto as he said, interesting creature you are. I wanted to see what you're truly made up of. So tell me, who are you? As Naruto looked towards the Otsutsuki with greed in his eyes, he could feel the amount of power this guy has, and he could tell that he could absorb it if he so desire, but he so wanted to test the limits of his power. So he's gonna have a bit of fun. After all, that weak Orochimaru was not exactly a challenge, so this should be fun. As he looked towards him, who are you? I can tell for whatever reason that you're not exactly who you seem to be. As the figure looked surprised at that, as while on the other hand, far away, in the dimension of the chakra consciousness, he was confused and surprised at the same time. He was chakra itself. Any and all being that had chakra were under his control, especially the Otsutsukis, who were mainly consist of chakra itself. So he was able to control them without any problem whatsoever. They were like parts of him, if one were to say. So he was a bit surprised that this guy was able to tell that he was not exactly Kin Otsutsuki. No, he was the very consciousness of chakra. As you can say, he looked towards him. So you can tell the energy you possess is not chakra, but for whatever reason, you're able to absorb it and convert it into your strange energy. You do not belong in this reality, in this universe. As Naruto looked towards him as he said, it doesn't matter. I can already tell that you are here for violence, so why don't we begin? After all, it is high time that I test the limit of my power. As Kin Otsutsuki closed his eyes, so be it. Begone. As after saying that, he moved his hand as a shockwave of energy released from his hand and rushed towards Naruto. As Naruto simply looked towards it and is surprised as the shockwave slammed into his body, slamming him into the ground violently as a gigantic crater was formed where Naruto landed, as Naruto burst into laughter as he flew towards Kinosuke as he said, "Ha, now we are talking." After saying that, he opened his mouth as a beam of pure energy rushed towards Ken Ususki as Ken moved his hand with the Rinnegan in it, trying to absorb it, but he was surprised as he quickly moved out of the way as the beam slammed into the ground, making a gigantic explosion. As Ken eyes narrowed, he was unable to absorb it, which means that it was not, you can say, the energy he was able to absorb. Even though he could tell that this was not chakra, but the abilities of the Rinnegan were so that any form of energy could be absorbed, which means there is only one explanation for this, and that is whatever energy this guy was using were far superior to the Sharingan, or rather to the chakra, that it was truly not even comparable. As his eyes narrowed, it seemed that he has to end it quickly. As he appeared in front of Naruto, released his face towards his face, ready to, you can say, blew his head off. After all, he was using the body of the king of the Otsutsuki. Even though this guy was powerful and was able to absorb multiple planets' natural energy, but this king has eaten so many chakra fruits that it was not even a comparison, as if he slammed into the face of Naruto as a shockwave erupted with a bright light that the whole planet shook violently as ready to be destroyed any second. But to the surprise of Ken, he was unable to move his hand any forward. After all, he was expecting to blow the head off of Naruto, but to his surprise, he was unable to do anything as his eyes widened as he flew a bit back. Surprise clearly written in his face. Naruto did not even move, not even an inch, as he looked towards Ken Ususuke with a smirk on his face. You are the most powerful being I have fought so far, but I can tell my powers are truly something else. I'm getting stronger, and with the strength comes my hunger. After saying that, he put his hand towards Ken Ususuki as the very, you can say, consciousness of chakra was surprised. What was this guy doing? Surely he was not trying to, but his eyes suddenly widened as he was unable to control the chakra of Ken anymore. Suddenly, he was trying to resist what is going on here. He was the very consciousness of chakra. Any form of chakra was under his control. No one can absorb it unless he is not directly controlling it at the moment, which he was doing in the body of Ken. But he could feel that his own chakra was no longer under his control. It was rushing towards Naruto at such a rapid speed that he could tell that within a seconds, you can say, he would be drained. His eyes widened. He quickly let go of the control which he had over the body of the king of the Otsutsuki, who quickly came back to his own consciousness. He was surprised. Where was he and what was going on here? As he looked towards Naruto, a bit surprised, but he clearly felt that his own chakra was leaving his body at such a rapid rate. As his eyes widened, trying to scream to tell to him to stop, but it was already too late as he let out a final scream and his whole body turned into nothingness, absorbing inside the body of Naruto. And just like that, his energy once again exploded so violently that the whole planet was unable to stand it, and a boom! The whole planet was literally turned into space dust. At the center of it, Naruto was looking towards his hand. Lightning was dancing over all of his body as he started to laugh like a maniac, while on the other hand, in the Elemental Nation, the great Elder Toad Sage, who was sleeping, suddenly eyes wide and sweat was coming to his face. He has seen another, you can say, vision. In this vision, everything was destroyed. Not even the whole, you can say, Elemental Nations has fallen to the point that there was no return, as he was truly terrified of it. As he looked towards Ma and Pa, quickly summoned Jiraiya boy. I have another premonition. As Ma and Pa looked towards the great Elder Toad Sage with nervousness in their eyes. After all, the situation in the Elemental Nations were truly dire, and they have to do something to stop it. Not even the threat of a Jubi was that big. While, on the other hand, Menma and Mito looked towards the, you can say, Training Ground 7, where Jiraiya, Minato, Kushina, and Tsunade were present, as well as, you can say, all the other council members. This was the place where the summoning clans had decided to meet them. As Menma looked towards Minato, Dad, we are waiting for so long. When are they even gonna come? As Mito said, alright Menma, calm down. But before she could say anything else, suddenly a huge shadow fallen over whole Konoha as Minato and everyone came to attention thinking that if it was Naruto who was attacking, but to their surprise, it was a gigantic form of a dragon which was flying over Konoha. It was truly, you can say, humongous as everyone eyes widened as the dragon finally landed in the training ground 7 as its size started to shrink and finally came to the size that it was the same size as Gamabunta as he looked towards everyone as his eyes finally met Menma and looked towards him for some time and nodded. You have the chakra, boy. It seemed that you're the one. As after some time, you can say a tsunami of fire appeared out of nowhere, and from the center of it, a gigantic phoenix, same size as the dragon, finally appeared and looked towards all the council members. Greetings, human. As she finally looked towards the place where her, you can say, chosen one was present as her eyes met with Mito. You will do just fine, child. After saying that, Minato and you can say everyone looked towards Menma and Mito who had smirks on their faces. After all, it was time for them to finally, you can say, accept their destiny. From the very young age, they were told that they were special, especially their godfather, Jiraiya, had told them that they were the chosen ones. So it seemed that this was the day they were waiting for, and today they are gonna start training with their respective, you can summoning clans and become so powerful in the whole elemental nation that no one will be able to stop them, especially their so-called brother, who was nothing but a menace. They were sure that with their training and the full control of the Kyuubi's power, which was promised to them by the Dragon and the Phoenix clan, they would be powerful enough to take down Naruto, and afterward they will rule the elemental nations as they should. As they smirk at that, as Minato finally, you can say, decided to leave. After all, the Dragon and the Phoenix has already left, saying that how they will be back after some time, the time in the summoning their respective summoning realms was different from the human realm, so they should be able to train a lot faster than the elemental nations. As after saying that, they decided to leave. While on the other hand, Jiraiya was a bit surprised. Suddenly, a poof appeared in front of him as a toad appeared and explained the situation. So Jiraiya decided to leave for Mount Miyaboko. While on the other hand, in the, you can say, dark corners of the elemental nation, 10 figures were present as they were looking towards each other as Black Zetsu finally arrived. As he said, I have bad news, Leader Sama. As Pain looked towards Black Zetsu, who, for whatever reason, was not looking exactly happy. As Pain looked towards him. What is it, Zetsu? Were you able to get information on Konoha defenses? And what of the Jinchuriki? As Zetsu decided to speak, it seemed that the news I have gotten, it seemed that the Dragon and the Phoenix clan had decided to enter into the world once again. As everyone there was a bit confused and surprised, as Pain eyes narrowed. After all, from the records he was able to get from Obito, who was claiming to be Madara, he had some mentions of the Dragon and Phoenix clan, but there was not much. Black Zetsu was angry. After all, even when the Jubi was roaming the world, even when his mother, Kaguya and Hagurome and Hamura were fighting, the Dragon and Phoenix clan didn't even care about it. So why they were entering into the world now? And he was confused and angry. Not only did they enter, they have decided to take Jinchurikis with them. It was not fair. He was so close to his plan to revive his mother, and now the Jinchurikis were taken, no doubt, for training, especially in their damn, you can say, Sage mode, which was so powerful, more powerful than the Toad's Sage mode was ever supposed to be or ever could be. As they looked towards them, not only that, they have also decided to take the Jinchurikis of the Kyuubi with them. The Dragon clan had decided to take the son of the Hokage, and the Phoenix clan had decided to take the daughter of the Hokage. Both of them are the Jinchurikis. As Pain and everyone was shocked to hear that. After all, it was truly unheard of. As Pain eyes narrowed, it doesn't matter. Even if they were taken, I doubt that they would stay there forever. One day they will have to come back, and when that time comes, I will personally handle them. As His Rinnegan simply started to spin and shine in the darkness as everyone nodded. After all, the Rinnegan, the legend of the Rinnegan, was far greater than the so-called whispers of the dragon and the Phoenix clan. The Black Zetsu was angry. Rinnegan was powerful, but even his mother has to think twice before challenging the whole clans of the dragon and the Phoenix. They were that powerful, and Hagoromo was not a match for his mother. The damn, you can say, Pain didn't understand. It seemed that he has to contact Obito as soon as possible, who, for whatever reason, was training like a madman for this time. Now, let us get back to Naruto, who was at the moment floating in the midst of space. Nothing was present around him. He has already, you can say, absorbed the remaining planets that he has seen in this side of the universe, and he was a bit bored. After all, there was little life he was able to find across the universe, but he could tell that many planets had it, but he was a bit bored about it. It seemed that he has to return back to his so-called home. After all, there are many places he has yet to visit, and he could feel his powers were increasing once again. At the moment, he was feeling so powerful that he could destroy so many planets with a simple wave of his hand, and he could tell that this was not the limit. His body was getting stronger by the day, by the second, and it seemed that he has to return back. After all, there are other so-called villages who are so arrogant, so maybe it is time for him to get a bit of challenge. For whatever reason, these Otsutsukis has fled. He could already sense many Otsutsuki across the universe. For whatever reason, they have decided to leave the place. It seemed that Kin Otsutsuki or whatever thing it was a big figure since he has died. The other Otsutsuki were finally gathering for whatever reason, but Naruto simply shook his head. He will get them sooner or later. After all, in the end of the day, they were nothing but, you can say, snacks in his eyes as he quickly smirked at that and rushed toward the direction of the elemental nation with hypersonic speeds. While on the other hand, in the dimension of the chakra, the figure was not looking happy. He was getting angrier by the second. How is this even possible? He was chakra itself. There was no way anyone could absorb what belongs to him. He was controlling Kane. He was a part of him, but that guy was able to absorb him even when he was trying to stop his own chakra. It is simply not possible. This thing did not belong in this reality, in this universe. It had to be stopped, otherwise he would one day be absorbed, and that he cannot allow. He had a bad feeling about this creature, and he had to stop him as he closed his eyes and started to search for the warriors which could be powerful enough to take this guy down. After all, he simply cannot confront him head on because he has doubts now. After all, for years he always thought that there was little he was afraid of. He was aware of the other realities, but he never feared them. But it seemed that he should have. So he closed his eyes, ready to search for the people and bring them enough power to stop this guy. While on the other hand, now, let us get back to the elemental nation. As Tsuchikage has just given the orders and he has just received the reports, he was a bit confused. After all, the reports he has gotten from all of his spies, he was unable to find this so-called son of Minato, this Naruto Namikaze. According to the spies, he was able to get this information, but it seemed that there was no trace of him, as if he was no longer in the whole planet, but he simply refused to believe that there has to be some place where he was present, and he was determined to get his hand on this so-called son, even if he is the enemy of Minato. But he has to, you can say, do something. Lately, the situation in the Stone Village was not exactly well. For, you can say, after the third Great Ninja War, he was humiliated. His whole village was humiliated. The shinobis were angrier by the day, and this humiliation was not washed away. Many of his political rivals were trying to stir up trouble every day, and they were, you can say, doing a campaign to remove him from the office. The only way he was looking out was to appease their anger. For, you can say, so he finally came up with the idea, even this Naruto Namikaze, even if he is the enemy of you can say Minato and the Hidden Leaf Village if he's able to capture him, and if he's killed by the Stone Shinobi, then most of the anger of the people would still be subsided. After all, even if he's the so-called enemy, he still was the son of Minato, so there has to be some kind of affection. So Minato would be saddened by his death, so that could be counted for something. That was the reason Tsuchikage was searching for Naruto. After all, Menma and Mito were simply out of option. They were Jinchurikis and the favorite of the prince and princess of Konoha. Killing them would definitely bring them a war and the wrath of the Yellow Flash once again, and that he cannot afford at the time. As he slammed his fist on the table, what do you mean that you did not find him anywhere? There has to be some kind of trace or something. As the spy shivered a little, well, Lord Tsuchikage, we are already searching, and I have already told many of my people to recruit even more spies so that we can find the information about this Naruto Namakase. As Tsuchikage gritted his teeth, no matter what, bring him in this village. And if you're unable to do that, then don't show your face here. After saying that, he dismissed the spy and let out a sigh of frustration. After all, there was many things he has to do. He has to secure the position of the next Tsuchikage for his granddaughter. He simply cannot let his political rivals to get the position. They will definitely stop his granddaughter to take the position in the future. That he cannot allow. If only his son was strong enough to be a cage, then he would have given his head to his son long ago, but he was only, you can say, around elite Jonin level, not powerful enough to be a cage, and the Council of the Stone will definitely not accept him to be the cage. As he simply shook his head, while on the other hand Naruto has just entered into the planet of the elemental nation. As he closes his eyes, he could feel the natural energy of this planet, even though for whatever reason it was not as powerful as of the other planets, as if it was sucked away years ago. But Naruto simply shook his head. After all, there was many knowledge in his mind from the Orochimaru as well as the, you can say, the king of the Otsutsuki. Yes, he was able to get his memories. Now, he realized that the people, especially the Otsutsukis, he absorbed and the other people, so he was able to, you can say, examine their memories and get to know everything. So now he knows everything about the Otsutsukis, but there was little he knew about for whatever thing was controlling this king Otsutsuki. He simply shook his head, finally landed in the elemental nation, as he already had made a cloak made up of pure energy surrounding his body. As he simply walked towards the nearest place. After all, it was not like he was always causing destruction. Oh well, he was causing it, but he needs his, you can say, peacetime as well. So finally decided to go for the nearest village. If he's not mistaken, that would be the village of, you can say, the Stone Village. He decided to get some rest and eat something. So he decided to change his appearance into a, you can say, into a relatively normal man unknown to him. Black Zetsu has sensed Naruto's, you can say, energy. The moment he entered into the planet, he was surprised. After all, this energy was not chakra, but Black Zetsu was able to sense the, you can say, the very essence of this power. After all, he was like a plant life, and he had a lot of natural energy, so he was able to do that. As he quickly noticed when Naruto landed and changed his appearance into that of a unknown person and walked towards the village of Stone. He was a bit confused, but Naruto stopped and looked directly in the direction of the Black Zetsu, who was taken aback but quickly, you can say, moved underground. He could not believe it. How is this even possible? He was almost like a plant, so no one, not even the greatest sensors of the Uzumaki clan, were able to sense him. So how could this guy sense him? As Naruto's eyes narrowed, he saw that creature. He had a lot of natural energy inside of him, and he was not, you can say, exactly human. So what kind of creature it was? But he simply shook his head. He cared little about it. After all, he was so weak and not worth his time. He had decided to spare this planet for now. It would be like his own playing ground. So he decided to go for a bit of rest. As Black Zetsu appeared far away from Naruto, this guy was dangerous. He had already seen the battle between Orochimaru and this guy, and he was simply too powerful. It seemed that he could use this opportunity to get rid of him. All he has to do is to inform some spies of the Hidden Stone village about the identity of this guy. He has already seen the face he was wearing at the time, so all he has to do is to leak it. While on the other hand, the Tsuchikage was doing his paperwork and you can say doing his normal thing. Suddenly, the door was burst open as Tsuchikage looked towards the direction with his, you can say, particle style in his hand, ready to disintegrate the enemy, whoever it was. But he was a bit surprised to see that it was none other than his, you can say, Jonin spy. As he looked towards him, what do you want and why are you here? As the spy looked towards the Tsuchikage, Lord Tsuchikage, I have been able to find the location of Naruto Namikaze. As you can say, Tsuchikage looked towards him a bit surprised. So you're able to finally get it. Tell me the exact location and I will send 500, no, 1,000 shinobis to get him. As the spy panting, well, Lord Tsuchikage, the location is this village. He is inside of the village hidden in stone. As Tsuchikage's eyes widened, what? As he stood up angry. What do you mean that he's the village? He's in the village. Is he trying to attack the village? Evacuate it now. At this, the spy gulped. Well, Lord Tsuchikage, from what I have examined, he is at the moment in a restaurant and he's eating like a madman everything. And he has already booked a hotel for his living. It seemed that he is able, but he was cut off by Tsuchikage, so he's here to get information and stole jutsus from us. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna take this case. I'm gonna take care of this thing myself. After saying that, he flew into the air as a special Ambu already appeared. He gave a signal as the Ambu disappeared to tell for his special Jonis. After all, Tsuchikage will not allow this guy to harm his village. After all, he was in his own territory, and if a battle between cage level shinobis were to be here, a lot of damage would be caused, while on the other hand Naruto was eating casually. Even though this does not fill him, it was still tasty. So Naruto was eating and decided to take a bit of rest and do his own thing. After all, he was far away from the society for so long, even though he has examined it thoroughly, but he wanted to enjoy it a little bit as well. So Naruto was eating his food, not you can say minding anyone, but everyone started to get out of the restaurant as Naruto paid them little mind. After all, he was in his own minds and trying to examine through the memories he has gotten from the Orochimaru and Kin Otsutsuki, and he didn't care that while people were moving away, but he sensed that some weak chakra signatures were coming towards him. A lot of them were weaker, even though one was, you can say, a bit stronger than the rest of them, but in his eyes, that was also so weak, not even worth the snack he could get out of it. So he simply shook his head and decided to eat all of it, while on the other hand, as after some time, the whole place was evacuated as Tsuchikage, the elite Jonins and Chunis and the Ambu had already surrounding the building. As Tsuchikage looked towards his elite Jonins and gave a signal as all of them decided to enter in the restaurant where Naruto was still eating, not even caring that the whole place was no longer occupied. As Tsuchikage looked towards Naruto, who was, you can say, once again eating. As Tsuchikage's eyes narrowed. So you have finally decided to show your face here, Naruto Namikaze. As Naruto looked towards the Tsuchikage, a bit confused. After all, this was the abilities he has gotten from Kin Otsutsuki, so there was no way that these people were able to realize the transformation technique. As his eyes narrowed a little bit, remembering that strange black creature. After all, the things in this, you can say, in these elemental nations were truly interesting. As his eyes narrowed a little bit, as a smirk came to his face, as his appearance once again changed into that of his normal face, as he said, Naruto Namikaze, you say? Well, that is rather an interesting name. After all, I'm still getting used to people calling me that. As he looked towards the Tsuchikage, so Tsuchikage, why are you here? As Naruto moved the food towards himself, don't tell me you're here to steal my food. At this, Tsuchikage's eyes narrowed as he said, you have a lot of audacity to show your face here. After what your father did all those years ago to my shinobi, as he started to fly in the air, as the Ambu and the Jonins beside him started to get angrier. After all those years ago, they have lost many of their people, and now the son of that monster was here eating their food like it was nothing. As Naruto looked towards him, I already know your so-called hatred for my so-called father, but don't worry, I promise that I will kill him painfully. So, can I continue eating my food now? As Tsuchikage had enough of it, particle style, as he made the particle style and released it towards Naruto, as Naruto simply sighed, as his food was destroyed, as particle style made contact with Naruto, as Naruto simply, you can say, moved his hand as all of it was absorbed. As Tsuchikage was taken aback, how is this possible? His technique was supposed to be something, one, you can say, one hit and you're dead. But he had aimed for his technique to only one side of Naruto to remove his arm, which was going towards the food. So that was his main target. He was not gonna kill Naruto that easily. So he was taken aback. How did his technique disappear? Did this guy absorb it? But how? As Naruto looked towards him, you destroyed my food. So how are you gonna compensate for that? As Naruto looked towards the Tsuchikage with a serious expression. As Tsuchikage had enough. As he said, enough! Take him down! As the Ambo and the Jonins rushed towards Naruto, as Naruto simply looked towards all of them with a blank look on his face. Honestly, he was here for a bit of rest, but these people came out of nowhere and started to attack him. As Naruto simply sighed at it. Since you guys are in so much hurry for the approval of your leader, so I can give you my blessings. Here, have them. After saying that, Naruto moved his hand and just like that, particle release, which he had just absorbed, came out of his hand and rushed towards the Jonins and the Chunis, attacking them within seconds as all of them were taken aback, as all of them disintegrated into nothingness, as the Tsuchikage was taken aback by the attack. How is this even possible? As the whole place exploded as the Tsuchikage came from the, you can say, the roof, as the Jonins and the Chunis realized that the situation was not good. So all of them rushed towards the location where Naruto was. The whole building exploded as Naruto also started to fly in the mid of air. As Tsuchikage glared towards him, you will pay for your crimes against my shinobi and for the crimes of your father. After saying that, his hand started to glow and the earth release, you can say, fist appeared in his hand as it rushed towards Naruto. As Naruto looked towards him with a blank expression, but suddenly a smile came to his face, which started to, you can say, turn into a huge smirk as a maniac-like smile came to Naruto's face. I thought that I could have a bit of peace, but now I realize that there is no fun in peace. There is only fun in fighting. After saying that, Naruto rushed towards the Tsuchikage as his fist slammed into the face of Tsuchikage. As Tsuchikage was hoping to take this guy down with his technique, but to his utter horror, he could feel utter pain in his arm as he looked towards the direction where Naruto has, you can say, connected his fist with his arm, and there was no arm anymore. As Naruto looked towards him, grabbing him by the face, suddenly there were a lot of techniques, jutsus rushing towards him, mainly the earth style jutsus like Earth Dragon and all that. But Naruto moved away, flying away into the sky as the Jonins and Chunis were helpless after all. Their leader could fly, this enemy could fly, but they could not, and their techniques were not reaching to the point where Naruto has already flown. As Naruto looked towards Tsuchikage, who was now looking in utter horror towards Naruto. For whatever reason, the Tsuchikage was feeling weaker by the second. His chakra was being absorbed at a rapid rate. As Naruto looked towards the Tsuchikage with a blank look on his face, you bore me. You people are not powerful enough. So why are you actually trying to attack me? After all, I was mainly here to eat food, trying to have a bit of rest. After all, there are so many planets I have already eaten. So I just wanted to eat some food. But you guys just have to disturb me. So you will pay for it as well. As Naruto simply threw Tsuchikage to the ground. He has already absorbed all of his chakra. Whatever was left behind was truly, you can say, so insignificant that he did not even care about it. But suddenly, something strange happened as Tsuchikage, who was falling, his chakra exploded as it was like a cloak has appeared all around his body. As Tsuchikage, who was on the verge of unconsciousness, was surprised with the surge of chakra as he looked towards his body, which was like glowing like a KCM farm. As also, Naruto also looked towards the cloak with a bit of surprise in his eyes. After all, he was sure that he has absorbed all the chakra. While, on the other hand, in the dimension where The consciousness of Chakra was his eyes were clearly showing happiness. After all, he has finally tracked down this guy. He was actually from this planet, this backward planet. He truly didn't care about whatever planet name was, but he also saw the fight. So he decided to enhance whatever left behind of the chakra of this warrior, even though he knew that even with this enhancement, he would not be powerful enough to take down this monster. But at this point, he was examining him, trying to see his weaknesses, his abilities. He has to know how is that he's able to absorb Chakra and has to do something to stop it. It seemed that this planet is full of warriors, so he was sure that he would be able to find his own warriors powerful enough to stop this guy once and for all. As Naruto looked towards Tsuchikage, who has, you can say, looking like he was 20 years younger now and full of confidence, as Tsuchikage said, I do not know what is going on here, but you shall die today, Naruto Namakase. As Naruto looked towards Tsuchikage with a, you can say, strange look on his face, but suddenly a maniac-like smile came to his face. This is just getting fun. As after saying that, Naruto's own energy exploded around him. So let's begin. Yeah guys, here I'm gonna left this part. Hopefully guys enjoyed it. For the next part, the like goal is 200 likes, 80 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as soon as possible. And yeah guys, please subscribe to my manhwa recap channel. The link is in the description below, and today I shall upload another video if I can. So stay in tune for that. So yeah guys, see you soon. Peace.